I made 4,562 Instagram posts, and this is what I've learned. I started my Instagram page on November the 11th, 2016. That is 2,913 days ago, and I suppose that averages 1.57 posts a day, every day, for 7 years and 11 months. That's pretty insane, right? Well, in that time, I've grown my audience to around 1.4 million people, and it took me 4 years of posting on social media to even reach 10,000. It then took me another 4 years to reach 1 million followers. My top 3 short-form content platforms have 4.3 million followers, and in growing all of these, I've learned 32 lessons. So let's get into it. Lesson number 1, hashtags don't do anything. The chap on Instagram called Masiri, who is the CEO of Instagram, came out and quite frankly said it, they don't do anything. Whenever I see people copy-paste hashtags, a little bit of me feels sad inside. There's someone out there in the notes section of their phone has populated a load of hashtags, and they feel that if they paste that into the description or to the comments of their post, that it will bring them more engagement. I've said for years, not only does it make you look desperate, it looks shit. Maybe a long time ago, content was sorted and categorized into hashtags, but it's 2024. Rest assured that every single word and item you put in a video is going to be scanned and audited by the platform. This is to ensure it has some idea of what the video is about. If the platform didn't do this, how do you think it could create the content you like so well and put it onto your feed? Hashtags need to go. They need to stop being used. If you want people to discover your content, make it better. Don't post loads of random words in a description hoping for the best. Only use hashtags when bantering, like hashtag team no chest or hashtag team no sleep, hashtag thick thighs save lives. But I'll tell you what, be careful with the last one. I actually own the trademark for thick thighs save lives, and I'm just waiting for some fitness twat to try whack it on a t-shirt, then I'll take them to court. And this brings me on to the next lesson. Originality at your peril. Originality. Einstein famously said, standing on the shoulders of giants, which is, well, it's cool. But in essence, your job on a day-to-day basis is to look at the landscape and see what is working. Think about investors. They don't just buy into shit that doesn't work and hope for the best. They look at trends and try to jump on them. And we must do the same. Truth be told, I like to talk to my sensei, Ed, from the Page Creator Booth, and we talk about many things, and he said his last video was doing well. So when I was watching it, I couldn't help but think about the incredible packaging that he used for it. He then told me that he came up with this video due to the reaction he got from other mediums like emails and modules. So in essence, Ed had already done a lot of work for me. So this video, although the title is the same, I didn't steal it. Technically, I hired him. And don't worry, I paid him more than what it costs me to pay my mortgage for 7 months. So he doesn't mind. A bit like you. If you rip off my content, you're a grade A bellend. But if you join one of my various courses, you're merely a student doing what you've been told. There's a bit of classic manipulation. Where were we? Oh well, so I saw Ed's title and thumbnail and I thought, that is really good. I will make my own version. I will also pay homage to where I got it from. It's like referencing someone in a study when you use a bit of content, which is a good thing to do in content. So let's maybe call that Unit 2A. Reference evidence and it'll make you look smarter. If you just reference where you got the information, it'll make you seem more genuine. So I saw what was working with Ed and I thought I could make my own version because Instagram, short form content, which this is about, I could potentially give more value than Ed could. He's the expert in YouTube. I suppose I'm a kind of an expert in Instagram. Now, at the moment, I work with hundreds of creators and I see them trying to make their own type of viral content, and more than often it flops. Whereas if they'd just seen what had worked for other people, they could have emulated perhaps the prop or the hook or the setting, even the scene, and then they could have gone off in their own direction. You need to see what is working and jump on that. I'm not entirely sure how sailboats worked for all those years. Do you ever wonder how people got around the world on boats? I assume they knew which way the currents and the winds were going, and they just kind of hopped on those. Seems a bit risky and mad if you think about it, but it'd be very daft to just guess your way across the Pacific Ocean, wouldn't it? So maybe don't do that next time you're in the process of planning and strategizing where you want your content to go. I've seen some creators recycle the same hook dozens of times. And actually, Ryan Trahan, Mr. Beast, some of the biggest YouTubers have straight up ripped titles and thumbnails of other creators. And you ask why? Because it works. And something working will always trump something original. China. Which brings me on to lesson number 2. It was technically lesson number 3, but I'm one behind. My favorite lesson, the best lesson, trends. They change, so keep an eye on them. Suddenly scrolling across social media isn't just wasting time. Babe, I'm researching. Babe, I'm staying on top of things. I'm researching things, many things. And the top creators on social media will show you many patterns. I saw Sean Casey was getting some mad engagement on Carousels, so I took note, did some myself, and they did very well. And why Carousels do well, I'll explain later. But when you see trends like I did, where the people letting their stories go blank for 24 hours, so then they can post another one with an offer and it gets more views, or just the setups they're using in their content, keep an eye on it. Because this is a never changing landscape. Try things out. And remember, if a post bombs, no one's going to see it because no one sees it. There's nothing to worry about. You can always unlist it and further down the line, even delete it. Your worst posts will get the least views most of the time. So I noticed a trend recently about super long videos on YouTube. Matt Armstrong, who does the cars, he has a Mark II channel and he's uploading videos that are 4 hours long. The average view duration on these videos is crushing the algorithm. So I noticed trends like that, get my notepad out, think about average view duration scoring well, and I do my best to, I don't know, make longer videos, like one assimilating 30 odd of the best things that I've learned whilst I'm teaching you about identifying trends and jumping on them, whilst also trying to jump on a trend myself to see how it does. We are all to be our very best own scientists, and we must test and trial things to see how they do, which is what I'm doing whilst you're learning about it. Which brings me on to number 4, camera. You can do a lot on an iPhone. In fact, I grew my social media following on Facebook to 50,000 followers just going live on an iPhone. Truth be told, I didn't know how to edit, which I'll cover in one of the lessons coming up. But an iPhone is great, and it is great enough, but you must level up with the times. Every time there has been an opportunity to level up, I take it. Even these videos the last few weeks, I've taken it to the next level. In my mind, it should correlate with your cash position. If you make 10 grand a month, come on, bro, level up the iPhone. When I hit $1 million in revenue for my last venture, I decided, come on, I need something a bit more than a $999 camera, which was the ZV-E10. And now I've swapped it out because of the autofocus issue for this FX3. But you do not need a $4,000 camera. In the future, you might, but every video is its own little production. I even blacked out this room for this production today, because I want this to be the best experience possible. But this is the icing on the cake. I don't think cameras are everything, but they're a lot. And if you're going to spend money going to the cinema, you want the film crew to use the best equipment. Because at the end of the day, you're giving up your time to enjoy it, which has made me paranoid. We're not recording. Yeah, we're recording audio. Thank God for that. You'll know when it's time to level up, and you can always just go to a camera shop. They'll help. You can get a secondhand camera and a secondhand lens. And basically, here's the take home. Give a shit about your content production, because it's hard to get people online to give a shit about you if you don't go to the effort for them. Remember, all this content is for them. When it comes to production, we need to get into another little lesson, which I suppose would be lesson 5. Can you guys hear me all right in this video? Can you? Of course you can, because lesson 5 is audio. Audio is maybe sometimes more important than visuals, I think, because sometimes people listen more than they watch, whether podcasts, YouTube, or short form. You'll notice I don't have that many interactions with all of this content because I want you to listen to what I'm saying more so than anything else. Shitty audio is a fast way to get people to switch off. People are much pickier with their audio than they let slip. Think about this. If someone's a noisy chewer of food, it makes you want to knock them the fuck out. So when your audio hisses or sounds shitty, it's just disrespectful to the experience of the person watching or listening. Here I'm using the Joe Rogan microphone. So this is a Shure SM7B and it's a great microphone, but it needs power. So I have it connected to a Rodecaster. Now, quick lesson. This mic needs something called a cloud lifter to make it sound better. This device that you can add gives it clean gain. So I had to originally buy a cloud lifter. However, times have changed. When it comes to audio interface, I use a Rodecaster 2, which has a cloud lifter built in, which is great because it makes the audio that much better. But Shure went one ahead recently and they built a cloud lifter into their latest microphone, which is called a Shure SM7DB. And you can tell that I geek out on this stuff, and you might wonder why. It's because I fucking care about my production. I even got another bookshelf for symmetricality. In fact, I reached out to Ed, my sensei, yesterday and asked him if he was using a cloud lifter because I could tell he wasn't. He inputs his Shure SM7B straight into his camera and you can slightly hear a hiss on the sound floor if you turn it up loud enough. And most people don't care about this stuff, but I care. And I think games are one in the top 1%. So for me, sound and a few $100s matter. For the majority of you, get a DJI mic. They're the best. And I've used Rode and I've used DJI in every single way. The DJI mic is enough to get you to the point that in the future, when you want to get a Shure SM7B, when it comes to cost-cutting, audio is not one of those places. You may think you can get away with shitty audio, but trust me, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. Which brings me on to lesson number 6, jump cuts. This video, you'll notice, has all the gaps cut, but we still let the words breathe, but we cut all the crap that you don't need. Why? For you? Well, I don't want you to sit here or watch here for any longer than you need. Referring back to audio, you do not want to hear me breathe. ASMR noises weird people out. Also, I want to be as succinct as possible. I want to cut the crap, but don't cut them too far. You still need to let the words breathe. I actually teach all of these lessons, by the way, in my content mastery course, and it's currently $99 and I'll leave a link in the description below, but let's get back into it. Before we get into that, let's get into lesson number 7. The peril of using a videographer. One must direct the direction of videos. Sometimes you can hire people and they are great at what they do. But Christopher Nolan, when directing a film, needs the best videographers and camera people, but that doesn't mean that they have the final say over how the film looks. I hired videographers for years and they made nice looking videos and I put them online and they'd fucking bomb. And I always wondered why videographers making shit look nice. And I always wondered why. Videographers make shit look nice. but that is not making great content. Great content and nice looking videos are miles apart. You cannot hire someone to hold a camera and expect them to make the magic happen for you. I've even seen friends of mine hire members of staff, and the issue is that they can offload the important thinking and ideation to people on salaries. They often create subpar results. If your business is going to have $1 million idea or a video, it's probably going to come out of your mind, not someone else's. So hire people to work for you, but not to do your job for you. No one cares as much as you do. No one ever will. It's on you. So don't be fucking lazy. Don't be fucking lazy. China. Lesson number 8, hooks. There are several types of hooks that you can use in social media, and you use them to capture attention, each with its own style and purpose. So here are some of the most effective ones. So you could use a hook that shock and surprises people, and these hooks can catch people off guard with an unexpected fact or visual. For example, opening with a surprising statistic or a bold statement. What if I told you that most fat loss diets are more harm than good? Then we could always ask a question hook. And this, what we're looking to do is ask a question at the beginning to encourage engagement by making viewers think and to respond. We then have a relatable or a problem-solving hook, and you can start this by addressing a common problem, making the viewer feel seen and understood. Struggling to stay motivated to work out, here's what actually works. These aren't too lumbersome or too long, they're very short and succinct, and they're something that we can get out in the first 3 to 5 seconds. Again, we might have a value-driven hook. This type promises a solution or a tip or an insight that's immediately beneficial, like a how-to or a quick tip. Here are 3 ways to boost your fat loss without changing your diet. The next could be a curiosity hook, which teases the content without giving everything away, prompting viewers to stick around to learn more. The one exercise that you should never skip, and you'll be surprised. Another one we could do would be maybe a shock reveal or a myth-busting hook. And you can open with a controversial or even a surprising statement that debunks common myths. You don't need to be doing a lot of cardio to lose fat, and this is why. Other things we could do would be a personal story or a vulnerable hook where you open with a short personal anecdote or insight that can humanize you and it can help you build trust. I used to hate going to the gym, but this is what changed it for me. What else? We could also do a challenge or a call to action hook. And with this, you could directly challenge the viewer to do something or make a decision. If you're not seeing any benefits to your cardio, try doing this. If you're not seeing any benefits to your jiu-jitsu sparring ability, then try this over the next 22 days. We could then have a demonstration or a visual hook, and you can begin with a demonstration of a product, an exercise, a technique, and you can show value immediately. Starting a video with you performing a workout move that's crucial for getting a contraction or eliciting an outcome. Another one I would use is humor or an unexpected twist hook. So you could use humor, irony, or a twist to grab attention and entertain right from the start. And then another one would be maybe a countdown or a list hook where you start with a countdown or top tips or a list structure and keep people watching for each point. You might even have a visual whiteboard behind you. These are 5 ways to grow your entrepreneurial business to 100K within the next 1 year. The benefit of this is by using different types of hooks, we can keep our audience engaged and cater to a range of viewer preferences. And this is super important in the early stages of content creation. Your first 5 seconds are so important. Do not take it lightly how important they are. If you can get your hook right, the rest is easy. However, keep in mind for longer format, you may want to have an introduction, and this can have some hooks in it. But if someone is watching a YouTube video like this one, I may need to pay off the title and thumbnail with more priority than a traditional hook to let the viewer know they're making the right decision. Like I did in this one, I kind of repeated the title, then gave the authority that it's 1.5 posts a day. People go, wow, that's a lot. This guy must know a lot about this. Then we get into the lessons. And talking to lessons, we should probably get into lesson number 8. Call to actions and goodwill. Do you remember Fast and the Furious 1? Rest in peace, Paul Walker. In the first drag race, Paul Walker used his NOS way too fast. This is why he loses to Vin Diesel. And this is what you should do when it comes to your call to actions. Do not shoot your load too soon. We must accrue goodwill from your audience. And if I'm honest, on this channel, I'm fucking prepared to post on this channel for 1 to 2 years before it booms. I know human beings, and some of you are ready, but most of you are not. And I will use this as fuel to keep me going more than anything. I will wear you down across months and years if I need to. I know I cannot just expect to pull the NOS because I hit 10,000 subscribers on this. Thank you, by the way. But I will leave a subtle call to actions in my description, but that's it. That is it. I'm willing to go to town for years if I need to. So with your short form content, get in, get out, be classy, don't ask for follows. Occasionally give a call to action, maybe for a resource or something that helps them. But for most of you, you're a lot of posts away from doing the work necessary to actually have the leverage to get people to actually do it. I want you to be willing to see social media as a place you literally help people for free for years. And you need to be okay with people not signing up. I created my Facebook account on the 1st of April, 2014. I had people come up to me and say how much I've helped them lose 20 kilograms. And then they say, I never joined your program, but you helped me so much. What, you never gave me your money? Cheers. But you need to be okay with that, because if you can't help people for free, then you won't get people to join for money. There's a real slim line between helping people for free and having loads of clients. So don't leave things on the table. Give people as much as you can. Give them so much that they get suspicious that maybe you were sent from above to come here from heaven to help them. And when you can do that for long enough, people will respond to your call to actions. But until then, keep pumping, keep hustling, and be sparing with call to actions, or you look, well, a little bit beggy, and we don't want that. Which brings me on to lesson 9, purpose. Your purpose on social media is to help them, not you. A lot of creators get caught up in the world of me when it needs to be about them. Here's my breakfast becomes, if you are looking for an amazing breakfast you can have every day, then I would recommend the exact same breakfast that I was going to talk about before. In the world of content creation, we become subservient to those who subscribe and watch our content. It sounds weird, but the faster you realize that your purpose is to help strangers on the internet, the better you can come to the reality of it. I like to personally go a bit further. I like to make it feel like I'm their mate. I overshare, I'm brutally honest too, and my approach is to the point that if I bump into someone, perhaps even you, I want you to feel like I'm your mate that you haven't met yet. And really the only time you should talk about yourself is when it can directly help them. If you want to help yourself, help other people. Smith J, 2024. Lesson 10. Is it 10 lessons? I have no idea at this point. Let's talk about frequency. How often should you post? Well, I think it's a good idea to aim for at least daily. Not that there's even that much in it beyond the fact that you need to do the fucking reps to get better at it. But if you want to become great at something, do it daily. It doesn't have to be a full-on production, but fuck me, on a slow day, you could screenshot a tweet and post it on your Instagram. It doesn't have to be a full-blown cameras, lighting, production, scripting, whatever. In my opinion, you cannot post too often. It can only be too boring. I'll repeat that again. You cannot post too often. It can only be too boring. Maybe one more time. You cannot post too often. You can only be too boring. Which I suppose then brings me on to lesson 11, which kind of ties into this one a bit, reposts. The majority of my videos go viral the second or third time I post it. For many of you in the early onset of content creation, imagine this. Create a new piece of content, take an old piece and post it again. You double your posting frequency for not a lot more work, maybe a minute more work going back and finding it on your iPhone. The beauty of this is not everyone saw your first post. Now, some people are going to go, I've already seen this post, but the people that moan and go, I'm going to unfollow you because you posted a post more than once. Friends has been on TV for like 30 years. No one's complaining. You don't see Friends on TV going, oh, Chandler and Monica, I've seen it a million times. They're just putting it on because someone might want to watch it. And the people that get annoyed that you've reposted something are not the people that buy your product the day it comes out, because the people that are your best clients go, do you know what, James? I'm glad you posted it again because I loved that video the first time I watched it. And you know what? The second time I watched it, I liked it too, because sometimes we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Sometimes people double tap that thing and share it to their story, not because they've watched it again, but they know how it made them feel the first time and they want other people to see it, and they will champion you and help you grow your... Just repost. You don't put 2-3 hours into something to just leave it there once, especially in short form. In YouTube, can you get away with it as much? Probably not. But in short form, especially if you're growing on social media, whenever anyone gives me any shit, I'm like, sorry, mate, I've grown by 137,000 followers since I last posted this. So I just put this up there so an audience the size of people at Twickenham when it's sold out could watch it. Next thing I want to talk about is lighting. Face the light. So those of you that are filming at home, if you can face natural light, the better. For this today, for this camera, this lens, I've actually blacked it out and I've got a professional light here. This still isn't the perfect lighting setup because I need to get something for my camera called an ND filter. But again, we are getting carried away. In essence, because of the way that I'm filming now, an ND filter is like sunglasses for your camera, which lets less light in, which can have a beneficial appeal to blurring out the background. But again, that's probably a bit too advanced for most people. But lighting, stage 1, face natural lighting. Do not have lights on above you or down lighting or anything behind. It just distorts everything. All the lights off in the room, face natural lighting. Again, this is flat lighting. If the light was to my side, it would be more of a Rembrandt. For the majority of you, just become well lit. The background does not need to be well lit. There is a glow light and I will get some more. But lesson 12, lighting, just face the bloody light and turn them top lights off, because most lights in the house are orangey glows that makes you look ridiculous. What would be another lesson? Lesson 13 would be time to post. Now, I don't think there's quite the importance on the time to post that everyone else says there is. I think it's maybe smart that you don't post when the majority of your audience are asleep, and maybe do post an hour or 2 hours before you think that peak time is to let the post get a bit of traction on social media, but ultimately get it out at a sensible time. Don't wait to 3 in the morning to put it out. But again, some people even say don't post at 8 a.m. Post at 7:55 because all the other creators are posting at 8 a.m. Look, the algorithm's working all around the clock to make sure if you've done a real banger of a video and someone could benefit from it, it's going to put it together. So don't worry about it too much. Lesson 13, just did it. Lesson 14, spreading your seeds. And what I mean by this isn't shagging people unprotected and getting spunking. And what I'm saying is, if you're going to make an asset for Instagram, get it out on Facebook, get it out on TikTok, get it out on Twitter, get it out on LinkedIn, get it out on YouTube Shorts if you can. If you've made that asset, get it everywhere. Get it everywhere. Because the majority of the work has gone into making that reel. Put it everywhere you can, even on Threads. Is anyone using Threads? I don't know, but all you need is one post to blow up and you could have 10 more clients, which for a lot of you could mean a lot more business for what? Taking a post somewhere. Spread your seeds everywhere you can. It just seems crazy to me that some people would go to so much work to put, I'm going to repurpose clips from this video for my Instagram. Anywhere I can, I want this everywhere. Why do we spread our seeds? So we can harvest and make loads of money. Next thing would be rule of thirds. You should notice that on this screen here, my eye line is pretty much on that top third. So we've got a third here, we've got a third here. And we do not want my eye line down in the middle. We want it perfectly in the right place. So that's something to keep in mind when you're filming portrait as well. We don't want too much dead space. We do not want our eye line in the middle. If you type in rule of thirds into YouTube, or even I'm going to get Declan editing this to show you the grid of a rule of thirds on a portrait and a landscape, just so you guys can see what the rule of thirds looks like. Just make sure you're in the right place because this makes it look good and appealing and appeasing for people. And if you can nail that and just make sure you don't have too much dead space in the wrong places, it will make your content look good. For this one, even if I am slightly out of dimensions, I know that my videographer Declan will clip this into size to make it look good. Lesson 16 would be scripting. So the first 5-10 minutes of this video, I scripted. Yes, I scripted, which is very naughty. You're naughty, you're dissing me. And even I read the first part from a teleprompter. I'm now freeballing it on the second one. But for me, with a video like this that can have a really big impact to a colder audience, because I already know the packaging is going to work on it because I copied it from Ed, I thought it was worth spending 2 hours this morning to script the first part of the video to make sure that the first part of the video is where everyone's going to think about leaving. I need to put more effort into that. When I got to lesson 16 to 30, I knew these ones off the top of my head, but the first ones, it was really important that the flow was good, everything else was good, so I scripted it. If a piece of content is really important, you'd be crazy to leave it up to your mind to come up with. So don't be afraid to script things. You can also just script something, read it out and cover it in BRoll, which we'll get into in a second. Scripting is an amazing tool that you can implement. It gives you better flow, it makes you sound smarter, and getting a teleprompter for long form content, anything over 5 minutes is probably a good idea. Short form content, you don't really need a teleprompter because I believe you could just read from something and cover it in BRoll. However, doing this video, covering it in BRoll would be just bloody hard work. Lesson 17, I would say, would be eye level, to make sure that you have a camera at eye level, because we don't want huge discrepancies of people looking down to people, people looking up to people. We want to make sure we're looking someone in the eyes. Any personal trainer watching this knows that when your client's exercising on the floor, you get down onto your knee to make sure you're not looking down to people. Lesson 18 would be repetition. The only way you get better at things is to do it more. The only way you get better at things is to do it more. Whatever area you're lacking in, whether it's scripting, whether it's filming, whether it's talking to camera, whatever it is, if you do more at it, you will get better. There is nothing out there that doesn't require huge amounts of repetitions for mastery. And the quicker you guys can just do the repetitions, the better. The more YouTube you do, the better you're going to get at YouTube. The more chin-ups you do, the better you get at that. Everything, repetition is the way. For any of you not doing the thing that you need to do, I will remind you that the lessons you need are in the tasks that you're avoiding. Now, lesson 19 would be BRoll. Now, BRoll, in essence, is footage of you doing the thing you're talking about. So if I was to do a video on the deadlift, I would probably script it and be like, the most important part of the deadlift is this, this, this. Now, as you go to put your hands on the bar, I would after film my hands going onto the bar. I would say the important thing is that your finger should be this far out from the knurling. I would then film my finger going that far out from the knurling. Then as we're doing the video, rather than me trying to talk to the camera the whole time, we can just do footage that goes over the top of it. Any of you that have watched Ancient Civilizations, or what is it, Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix, if you watch it, you'll notice that the A-roll is Graham Hancock talking to camera. The B-roll is drone footage, people out and about, everything like that. He is reading a script. If you actually watch Ancient Apocalypse, the whole thing is scripted with other footage put in between. But the B-roll makes such a good thing. You can get stock B-roll online, but if you can film your own B-roll, it's going to look so much better. Another person you could look at online on YouTube is Matt Develia. He is incredible at doing long amounts of B-roll. For me, I just couldn't B-roll these videos. It would be too much work. But you'll notice that in some of my short form content, if you're talking about something and you can visually film that and overlay it, it just makes the whole thing look so much better. A-roll is your main track like this. B-roll is anything that comes over the top. Lesson number 20, stories. Stories are the best things. Stories are how you get people to go to war. All religions are stories. If you can tell a story, the better. So if you're talking about fat loss or something relatively boring, tell a story. I ate 50% calories for 2 weeks and this is what happened. Because now we have a story and we have a hook. I gave up carbs for a month and this is what I tried carnivore for a month and this is what happened. A story, a challenge. People are interested in stories. In this video, we're going to look at how fat loss works. Don't care. In this video, I'm going to show you what happened to me when I didn't eat for 30 days and we're going to learn what you can do in your life to make sure you can lose fat without having to do what I did. Oh my God. Tell stories the best you can. Anytime you want views, tell stories. If you don't have stories, make them up. Do challenges, whatever it is. Lesson 21, chatbots. Meta will permit chatbots for Facebook and Instagram. They're powerful tools at the moment to get people to comment certain prompts. For instance, if you DM me on Instagram content, you'll get a bot about content mastery. If you DM me mentorship, you get a message about joining my mentorship. We can then put out posts that tell people for these prompts. I have people using prompts for posts I did weeks ago, and they're still getting sent through DM automations that's getting them to buy things. So ManyChat is probably the best one. ManyChat, it's incredible. And it's made me a lot of money this year. Lesson number 22, carousels. If you put music on a carousel, it will get shown to a new audience. It will kind of be shown to that Reels feed. But if you do it without music, it will be shown to your current audience, which I actually think is better in some ways. Now you get up to 20 photos on carousels. So I think the videos and Reels are your best way to grow your following, grow your brand, all of those. But I think every occasionally you should be doing a 10 to 20 picture carousel, which should be a story, which should also have a chat bot. And this will be shown to your existing audience. So if you can take them on an emotional roller coaster, it's a very powerful tool to use. So please use it. Lesson number 23, you should always be pushing things to Facebook. Even if you don't use Facebook, set up a business account, pushing Reels to Facebook. So many people I work with, they start doing it. A few weeks later, they go, oh my God, a Reel went viral on Facebook. I didn't even know it, grew my account by 10,000. I wondered where those leads. Make sure you're putting stuff to Facebook. I honestly think that the last 10 years, I've made more money from Facebook than I did Instagram, and I've always had a bigger Instagram following. So Facebook is still a weapon. There are still people on it. Do not sleep on it. Lesson number 24, haters. When your comments go to shit, that's good news. Your Reel has gone to a new audience. When the algorithm's pushing your stuff, you just get more and more hatred. Instead of seeing hatred and negativity as a bad thing, it's a good thing. It means your Reel is performing well. If your Reel bombs, no one hates it. People are always going to hate you. They're always going to try to rip into you. You can block them. Best thing you can do is actually to restrict them. And restricting them is great because they can keep commenting and they don't know that no one else can see it. So they're wasting their energy trying to ruin your day when really you're ruining their day with an Uno reverse +4. People are always going to unfollow you. My unfollow rate is massive. So for every 2 followers I gain, I lose 1. So if I look at my Instagram algorithms, most of the time it's like, you gained 20,000 followers, but you lost 10,000. Don't take it personally. It's just people are not interested. They're going through a different stage of life, whatever it is. You cannot lose sleep about that. You just can't. How many of your friends from high school do you not stay in touch with? Are you bothered? No. You go through phases of your life where people are your friends, then they're not your friends anymore. You don't give a fuck. So don't give a fuck about random people on the internet that once followed you and then realized that you weren't their bag of fish. Is that even a saying? I don't know. Don't worry about it. Don't lose sleep about it. You only need 50 people to live a very good life. 50 clients, you probably borderline need to hire someone. So you don't need all these strangers on the internet. Do not take it personally. My next lesson would be about stop trying to impress other people in the same line of work as you. If only I had a penny for personal trainers that were trying to impress other personal trainers with their content, or they were worried about the opinions of other personal trainers. Other personal trainers are the only people that are never going to buy your product. So me as like a business guru, if other business gurus chirp in and go, oh, you're an idiot. Well, you were never going to buy my course, brother. You were never going to buy it. You were never going to contribute into my life. You were never going to do anything. So I don't care. If you own a butcher's and you sell meat and kebabs and all, don't worry about what vegans say because they're never going to buy your shit. It's why I go in on bodybuilders and vegans and CrossFitters. I pretty much go in on the people that are never going to buy my stuff. You get engagement and you never have to worry about your sales being impacted because they're never going to buy. Anyway, lesson number 29, caffeine. You should be well caffeinated when you do content. And if you don't like caffeine, be caffeinated. And what I mean by that is bring it. Bit of aggression, bit of je ne sais quoi. Bring that. I thought je ne sais quoi meant something special in French. And I hired a videographer who I fired. His name was Etienne. He was retarded. And I remember we were in Dubai and I said to him, wait, Etienne, what does je ne sais quoi mean? He goes, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know, brother? I said, you're fucking French. What level of idiot are you? I said, je ne sais quoi. What does it mean? Because I've been saying you need a bit of je ne sais quoi in your content. He goes, I don't know. I go, bro, you're fucking French Canadian. How do you not know what je ne sais quoi means? He goes, it means I don't know. I went, what? Je ne sais quoi means I don't know. Turns out I've been saying you need a little bit of I don't know in your content. And yeah, he nearly lost his front teeth there. Nearly gave him the left, right, good night. What about? Be caffeinated. You can tell the caffeine's kicked in for me. Number 30, play the long game. People overestimate what they can do do in weeks and they underestimate what they can do in years. There's going to come points where you become very frustrated. You feel like giving up. You feel almost depressed with the lack of progress that you're making. This is where everyone else gives up, brother. If you keep going at this point, this is where you get ahead. When you get to that point that you're literally pulling your hair out and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. Just know, rest assured, other people are giving up. And if you can just keep pushing through that, that is how you play the long game. Lesson number 31 would be resilient. No, it's 30, not 31. Resilience. You're going to have good days, going to have bad days, going to have unfollows, going to have shitty comments. You cannot let it bother you. It cannot bother your path. You must stay resilient. You're going to go through loads of whirlwinds on the way there. But if you can remain resilient and push through and not care about all of these things, you can make it to the top. And I think my final lesson would be to ensure that your sole purpose of social media on there, all this short form content, is to get people's email addresses. It's not to make sales, not to grow your following, it's to get email addresses. At the end of the day, if you want me to cater and judge the performance of your short form content, it is how many emails you're getting. Now, you're probably wondering why I went this far through a video giving all this information. It was one that I wanted to help you guys with understanding these different, but the main thing is I sell a course teaching this. It's called Short Form Content Mastery. And there's a link in the description. It's $99. And here's the best part. If you did that and went through all the modules and you're like, there's a few things missing, just message me in the Discord and I'll add the module. That's it. I'm growing it as time goes on. It's getting better week on week. And it's $99, which is heinously cheap. And if that hasn't tickled your pickle to go do that, then YouTube will probably, like it always does, put a little video here that it recommends. And YouTube's a smart bugger. So if it says you should watch that, you should probably watch that. Thanks for watching.